Hi, everybody, and welcome to the second annual GW Law Business and Finance Law Conference. This conference is a JD and LLM student organized and run event, and we are excited to have everybody be with us here today and tomorrow. The conference will explore the current and future changes that are affecting the digital economy. The world is changing and advancing at an unprecedented rate, and as a result, the field of business and finance law is constantly evolving. This conference will specifically focus on developments in cryptocurrency, digital platforms, digital taxation, and the rise of new investment strategies. And before we get any further to the conference, I just would like to take a second to thank everybody who has been involved with this, from the GW Law School to the students and JD members of the committee, to Professors Pam and Salif, and to all of our panelists and keynote speakers. Thank you everybody so much for being involved with this. Thank you.
Thank you, Abraham. Good morning. I'm Jeremy Pam, Director of GW Law's Business and Finance Law Program. Thank you for joining us. Before I introduce our Dean, Dana Bowen Matthew, allow me to say a brief word about GW Law's Business and Finance Law Program. GW Law has a long tradition of education in business and finance law, and this tradition is alive and well today in the intelligence and promise of our JD and LLM students, in the accomplishments of our alums in Washington, New York, and around the world, in the broad and deep expertise of our faculty, and in the range of course offerings taught by our faculty, and in a steady program of events featuring distinguished speakers like ours today. Among the common themes running throughout these constituencies and activities, I'll just mention three big ones: global financial stability, innovation and entrepreneurship in legal practice and in business, and business leadership and judgment. This student-organized conference exemplifies all of these three themes, and my association with it is one of the highlights of my time at GW Law School. With that, I'm thrilled to introduce Dr. Dana Bowen Matthew, Dean of the George Washington University Law School. A nationally recognized lawyer and legal scholar with 3 decades of industry and academic experience, Dean Matthew is the first woman to lead GW Law. An expert in health equity and public health policy, with a passion for public service, Dean Matthew previously served as University of Virginia Law School's William L. Matheson and Robert M. Morgenthau Distinguished Professor of Law and the F. Palmer Weber Research Professor of Civil Liberties and Human Rights. She was also a professor of public health sciences at the UVA School of Medicine and served as director of the Equity Center at UVA, which works to build relationships between the university and its surrounding community to address racial and socioeconomic inequality. Prior to her tenure at UVA, she served as Professor of Law, Vice Dean, and Associate Dean of Academic Affairs at the University of Colorado Law School, and before that as Professor of Law and Medicine at the University of Kentucky Law School. Dean Matthew has held a number of important positions in the policy world. She served as the Robert Wood Johnson Health Policy Fellow for U.S. Senator Debbie Stabenow, and as Senior Advisor in the Office of Civil Rights at the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency. She also is a non-resident fellow in the Center for Health Policy at the Brookings Institution. A prolific writer, she's the author of the book Just Medicine, A Cure for Racial Inequality in American Healthcare, and has authored or co-authored dozens of book chapters and articles focusing largely on healthcare reform, public health law, health disparities, patient protection, and antitrust laws and civil rights. Dean Matthew received a BA in economics from Harvard Radcliffe College, a JD from the University of Virginia School of Law, and a PhD in health and behavioral sciences from the University of Colorado, Denver. A visionary and strategic leader, we are thrilled to have her as our dean. Please join me in welcoming Dana Bowen Matthew.
Jeremy, I thank you so much for that wonderful introduction, and I thank you for the opportunity to be here for this exciting conference organized by students. I imagine that many things about this conference will be monumental, but the fact that students took the lead under these adverse circumstances is particularly inspiring. I am delighted to welcome all to the second annual student-organized conference on business and finance law titled Regulating the Digital Economy. I'd like to extend a special welcome to GW Law alumni joining us, who work on the cutting edge issues across the full spectrum of business and finance law practice, from regulation to transactions in every part of the world. It's one of our strengths that our business and finance law alumni are in Washington, New York, Silicon Valley, London, Brussels, East Asia. We span the globe. I'd also like to extend a warm welcome to the GW Law students in the online audience. As I said, you are persevering through many challenges of the current health, economic, racial justice crises that we are facing in this country, and you will soon be helping to define the solution and manage many of these problems and cutting edge business and finance issues tomorrow. I welcome you and I thank you for your perseverance and resilience. In February of last year, just before we began the pandemic lockdown, a group of JD and LLM students inaugurated the first student organized and moderated conference in business and finance law here at GW. This second annual student organized and moderated conference is taking place online a year after we've all had to conduct our studies and work from home. Again, as I said, it's a testament to the resilience and initiative of our GW Law students. The overall theme of today's conference, Regulating the Digital Economy, and each of the 4 student-moderated panels is equally a testament to the intellectual vitality, the international strength and perspective, and the range of subject matter that GW Law's business and finance students and program cover. Our faculty are strong in all of these areas and have supported the development and learning of our students to be able to do such a monumental conference as this. The 4 panels span financial tech, capital markets, tax policy, and antitrust. The organizers have brought to this endeavor international as well as US perspectives, with organizing committee members hailing from Peru, Colombia, Belgium, and Nigeria. Let me now recognize these wonderful students who have organized this conference by name. Leading the charge is Organizing Committee Chair Abraham Bluestone, who's a JD of 21 candidate, who after participating in last year's inaugural conference, steadfastly championed and expertly steered the initiative's encore performance with a largely new group of student organizers. The other outstanding members of the student committee are Leif Anderson, the class of 2021, Tulope Awoyomi of the LLM class of 21, Alejandro Ibarra of the LLM class of 22, Adam Manning of the JD class of 22, Hannah-Lore Neiston of the LLM class of 2021, Barbara Samaniego of the JD class of 2021, Sadia Taneja of the JD class of 21, Alejandra Velopatino of the LLM class of 21, and Abigail Zwick of the JD class of 2022. I ask that if I mispronounced your names, you will forgive me, because the excitement and the enthusiasm that I have for your work is not belied by my error. I would also like to acknowledge the co-sponsoring student organizations for today's conference: the Corporate and Business Law Society, the Banking and Securities Law Society, the Tax Law Society, and the Antitrust Law Society. Finally, I'd like to recognize Marina K. Sola. She's in the LLM class of 2018 and now serves as a visiting associate professor of law and the fellow of our business and finance law program. She is now officially a veteran of our student organized business and finance law conference. Professor Sola served as a senior advisor and mentor to the organizing committees of both last year's and this year's conferences, and provided wise and steady advice throughout the organizing process. I would also like to recognize Professor John Stirk, Professor Karen Brown, Professor Jeremy Bearer-Friend, all three for assisting the students in organizing speakers for their panels. We believe that this conference underscores the importance of GW Law's long-standing commitment to the educational and public policy value of continuing to inculcate a deep and critical understanding of both the business practices in global financial centers like New York and the complex legal and regulatory world of Washington, D.C. I extend many thanks to all of you for being here, and I hope, indeed I know, you will enjoy the program. I am now pleased to turn this program over to Professor Sola, who will introduce the keynote speaker, SEC Commissioner Hester Peirce.